Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining today, everyone. Today's webcast is called Lower Your Total Cost of Ownership with CA Access Gateway for Citrix Netscaler SDX. Today you'll be hearing from Brian Miller from CA, Alan Anderson, Morgan Gerhardt from Citrix, and Sanjay Kumar. My name is Krista Malzone. I'm the Community Manager for the CA Security Community. So let me just go over what our agenda is going to look like today. First, I'll do a little intro just so you can get to see each of the panelists today. Next, Brian and Alan will talk about CA's partnership with Citrix. After that, Morgan from Citrix will give you a Citrix Netscaler and Netscaler SDX overview. And then Sanjay will go over all of the new updates and integrations featured in the new CA Access Gateway release. And finally, we'll open it up for live Q&A at the end. So if you have a question, please use the Q&A window in WebEx to ask a question just by typing it into that window. So again, I'm Krista Malzone, the Community Manager for CA Security Community. And then these are the panelists you'll be hearing from today. Brian Miller, who's the Global Account Director for Security. Alan Anderson, Product Manager for CA Security. Morgan Gerhardt, Director of Products at Citrix. And finally, Sanjay Kumar, Product Manager for CA Access Gateway. So Brian and Alan are going to talk to you now a little bit about CA's partnership with Citrix. So Brian, go ahead.
Great, thanks, Kristen. Yes, I'm Brian Miller, and I'm the Global Account Director for CA's relationship with Citrix. We've had a very strong relationship going back about 3 years or so, and we've been working very closely with both their product marketing groups as well as their engineering groups to make sure that the CA products blend very well with the Citrix products and solve issues that any of their customers might be having. We've been a big participant in a lot of their shows. Many of you that have attended these shows may have stopped by and seen it. We've won some awards for some of the things that we've done. Essentially, we have two different areas. One is with our Unified Infrastructure Management, or formerly known as NIMSOC, being able to do some management around the Zen app and Zen desktop environments. And then today, we wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what we've done on an integration with CA Single Sign-On, formerly known as SiteMinder, the Access Gateway with the Citrix Netscaler SDX. We also have several other projects that we're working on with them to deeply integrate our products with their products and to overall, help make things easier for the end customer to utilize. Go to the next slide. And, we've got a kind of a new tagline of business rewritten by software, because what we found is really we are in an application economy. Virtually every company out there really has turned into a software company. They virtually have to, because of the mobility of their end users, their partners, their developers, and their own internal employees. You really need to be able to address those needs for access to applications internally. With an application economy, really Citrix is one of the premier ones there, because they're the ones that are actually serving up those applications to those various users. And what we want to be able to do is to do that securely and make it so that the user experience is very smooth. Go ahead. So one of the things that we wanted to bring to your attention also is that we've got a roadshow going on. It's a 42-city roadshow where we're visiting various sites and talking in depth about the Netscaler SDX, as well as the integration of the single sign-on access gateway with the SDX. The various cities around, and please by all means contact your Citrix and/or your CA rep in the city of your, that's close to you, and we'd love to have you participate in that as well. Go ahead. One other thing, Citrix is a silver sponsor at the upcoming CA World in Las Vegas, and that's at Mandalay Bay. And they've got a speaking slot where they will be talking specifically about Access Gateway on the SDX, as well as they'll be able to demonstrate it right there on the show floor. If you'd like to have if you're going to CA World, and we certainly hope you are, if not, it's not too late to register. We'd love to be able to set up specific meetings for you to be able to talk a little bit more about, what your particular environment is and how we might be able to help or how this might fit. Please feel free, there's a contact page in this a little bit later on that you can contact me, and I will be more than happy to set up the meetings with Morgan and some of our other security experts there. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Morgan Gerhardt.
Great. Thank you, Brian, and good morning, good afternoon, and maybe even for some of you it might even be good evening. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for having me on the website. Excited to tell you a little bit more about Netscaler and then also what we're doing between Netscaler and CA. So to begin, I imagine most of you are familiar with Citrix and think of Citrix largely in terms of what Citrix does to enable end-user access to critical application services. And over the last 3 or 4 years, we focused very heavily on, Citrix as an organization has focused very heavily on providing the tools and infrastructure necessary to provide a fully mobile workspace to our organization's employees. And the critical things here are first understanding what it means to be mobile, and most importantly, understanding that mobile is more than just devices. It really is the workspace. So it's really the ability to access apps, data, and services on any device from any location. And certainly if you look across the Citrix portfolio and you look at the Zen app product, the Zen desktop product, and the Zen mobile product, as well as our ShareFile and Podio collaboration tools, you get a feel for how Citrix is bringing all of that together to provide a 360-degree mobile workspace for any employee. But Citrix is about more than just the things that the user interacts with on a day in and day out basis. If we go to the next slide, to deliver those workspaces to users with high integrity and high fidelity requires a bunch of back-end infrastructure. And Citrix Netscaler, which is the quote-unquote load balancer, or as some in the industry refer to it as the application delivery controller, is a critical piece of infrastructure that does that. Specifically, what Citrix Netscaler does is it provides for availability, application acceleration, data center and infrastructure offload, as well as application security for a variety of applications that are being rolled out across the network. And these would be direct Citrix applications, like again, Zen app, Zen desktop, or Zen mobile, but general web applications and client server applications as well. And really behind the scenes, what Netscaler gets used for is, if you will, an application and network control point within the network that gets used to apply policy, again, to provide for security, availability, or acceleration across a variety of applications. And as we look at what our organizations are rolling out and seeking to deliver applications, if we go to the next slide, it is a lot of different applications. Rolling out, every time they roll out an application, that application needs not only servers and storage and a general network, but it requires things like load balancing. It requires things like firewall services. It requires IP address management. It requires strong authentication and authorization. And that authentication and authorization has to be viewed across the entire landscape, hence the integration that we are doing with CA around the single sign-on product as well. And of course, our organizations aren't rolling out a single application. Next slide. Our organizations are rolling out, actually next slide as well, a lot of different applications. And what's interesting, and Citrix is just one of these applications. There are numerous that are out there. You know, when we walk into a medium enterprise or a large enterprise, generally when we take a look at their application portfolio, it is hundreds, if not thousands, of applications. And as we all know, applications have a tendency to arrive a lot faster than they go away. So those application portfolios are growing. What's interesting about that is each of those applications, if we go to the next slide, has a different owner. By owner, that could be a developer constituency that's actually tasked with writing and developing the application and maintaining it over time, as well as the business unit that relies upon that application for its services. And if we go to the next slide after that, and what's interesting is that while all of those applications need the services that a Netscaler provides, again, availability, acceleration, and security. If we go to the next slide, we can click again. What they need are, they all need the same kinds of capabilities or the same function, but they apply it in very different ways. So for example, the different applications need different levels of network throughput. Next. They need different functionality. Next. How that functionality gets expressed is expressed as different policies. Next. And then, of course, the service levels that they expect are very different as well. And then, of course, the other thing, if we go to the next slide, is that in addition to each application having different needs of the network and the network services, each application really has its own life cycle. And what's interesting about the capabilities that a device like Netscaler provides is that its life cycle is far more a function of the life cycle of the application than it is the underlying, if you will, routing and switching network. So different applications have different maintenance windows. Next, different applications have different tolerances for changes of the underlying infrastructure. And then next, different applications also, they themselves change at different frequency rates. Some applications may be developed using Agile, where they may be driving a change once a month or maybe once even every couple of weeks. Other applications may only get touched, midnight to 4 a.m. on the third Sunday of every quarter or something crazy like that. And then next, and different applications require desire for new network services at different rates. A classic example there is one application may be able to integrate and do authentication via SAML, but another application itself may not be able to understand that at all. So the crux of this is that while different applications all require the same kinds of Netscaler services, the way that they consume them is very different, which is ultimately what led us to develop the Netscaler SDX platform. What Netscaler SDX provides is the ability to run multiple fully independent and fully isolated instances of Netscaler with full hardwalling and resource isolation between them on a single purpose-built networking appliance. And the key thing here is these are instances, not partitions. So you get hard device-level resource isolation in terms of memory, RAM, and SSL offload and things like that. And what all of that does is it protects against noisy neighbors or overruns. So you don't have to worry about, for example, Microsoft Exchange stepping on SAP or vice versa. And then the second thing is that because the Netscaler instances are fully and completely independent of each other, they are totally decoupled from a lifecycle perspective. So they can run different version levels of Netscaler. They can be brought up and brought down completely independent of each other, which provides a high degree of flexibility to tailor the needs of specific applications by giving each application or each critical service its own underlying Netscaler instance, and in essence decoupling them from one another, but without having to overload the network with what frequently gets called quote-unquote appliance sprawl. And then if we go to the next slide, we specifically built the virtualization architecture of Netscaler to support not just Netscaler, but a set of best-in-class offerings from select Citrix Alliance partners. And as we talked about earlier, we're very pleased to work with CA around this. So what we have done is we have worked with CA to be able to run the CA Access Gateway, and which is a key part of the larger CA single sign-on product portfolio, directly on the Netscaler SDX, greatly simplifying the deployment of Netscaler and CA together, where they are working in conjunction to provide strong authentication and seamless authorization across a broad portfolio of applications, all within the same organization. And with that said, I will turn it over to the, I will turn it back to CA to talk a little bit more in depth about the integration.
Sure. Thanks, Morgan, and thanks all for joining this webcast today. I will be running through this with this backdrop and the introduction for CA partnership with Citrix and a detail about the Citrix Netscaler SDX platform. I will be running now, and I will be introducing the CA, our product, CA Access Gateway for Citrix Netscaler. Next slide, Kristen. So in summary, what this product is. So this product in summary is a virtual appliance which is built on a Red Hat Enterprise Linux in Citrix supported XPA format and deployed on Netscaler SDX platform. So that's in summary what this product and this release is about. Now a little more detail on this offering is the CA Access Gateway for Citrix Netscaler SDX. Once deployed on the SDX platform, it is now available to get deployed on the SDX platform. And once it is deployed on the platform, it has got all the standard features of CA Access Gateway, which is traditionally known as CA SiteMinder Secure Proxy Server, which is a best-in-class reverse proxy server for site-minded deployments. And it can be used in a traditional fashion by performing all standard configurations. And definitely you need the CA SiteMinder infrastructure to use this gateway software. So this software is now made available on SDX platform. Now, apart from just making this software available on the SDX platform, we have also integrated with the SDX administrative UI to get better manageability gains. So not only you can run the software on the platform, you can also manage the software and the virtual machine from the administrative UI, and that gives you a lot of flexibility. We'll see in a subsequent slide what these details are. But in a nutshell, you can actually create a virtual machine with pre-installed CA Access Gateway instance. You can actually monitor the performance of that particular machine via the administrative UI, and you can also perform some of the standard operations like start, stop, reboot, upgrade on these virtual machine and the software. So we have made available the software in the SDX platform, and we have also extended the capability and the manageability gains of the SDX administrative UI to our Access Gateway customers. Now, a point to be noted here, which is on the bottom left, is like our CA single sign-on integration use cases with Citrix Netscaler. Now, these integration use cases, which are around SAML-based federated single sign-on and radius-based authentication, these are the standard features which are available, and they do not really require CA Access Gateway running on the SDX platform. They were available before, and they are available now also, and they can be used in a standard fashion. And we have got runbooks which detail how these integrations work and how both of these software can be used together. So this is just a reference to our pre-existing integration use cases with Citrix Netscaler, and this has not to be confused as a prerequisite for this software running on the SDX platform. Next slide, Kristen. So this is like the UI, the SDX administrative UI, which I was talking about, and this gives a glimpse of like this UI, what this UI looks like. And this in this view, what is being shown is like in summary how many Access Gateway instances we have provisioned, how many different XPA files you have on your machine, and how many different CA Access Gateway software files are available on the machine. So this is like one of the many administrative UI options and the summaries UI options which are available because we are leveraging the SDX administrative UI. Next slide. Now this again captures like how you are going to provision your Access Gateway instance on the SDX platform, and this provides an easy way of like providing all the configuration which you need when the access gateway software is getting installed, or how it should be provisioned when the virtual machine is getting provisioned from the SDX platform UI. So this is one of the snapshots from those screens. Next slide. So really what we are seeing now is like a customer's IT environment of the data center where we have diverse set of applications, and this is what just Morgan referred to, and these applications have like different kind of an SLAs of the application availability, and we have different set of customers who are trying, for whom the applications have to be made available in a fashion which they are expecting. And what we really need is like a flexible access management solution which can match the intelligent application delivery and application availability capability of Netscaler SDX platform. And this solution, which actually makes available of a single sign-on infrastructure and on the SDX platform via the access gateway software, is really trying to address that need in that direction. Next slide, question. So a little more detail and a peek into the manageability gains we are getting by allowing CA Access Gateway appliance to run on the SDX platform. So as I mentioned, like you can on demand, you can provision CA Access Gateway instances from the SDX and SVM UI. You don't need to go into any specific machine to install the software. You can provide the standard configuration parameters, and you can provide these parameters so that when the virtual machine is getting instantiated, your software is also getting pre-installed there with all the parameters we have mentioned. You can also, just like one, you can also provision multiple access gateway virtual machines from the SVM or the SDX administrative UI. And you can also add like multiple CA access gateway VMs. You can edit the existing access gateway VM settings, and you can also delete an existing CA access gateway VM from the SVM UI directly. What it really means is like it gives you a flexibility. It really gives you some kind of an elasticity of your access management software in terms of scaling up or scaling down of your access management infrastructure in a very short span of time on demand as required based on the business needs. Now, post-provisioning, you can also manage this virtual machine from the SDX UI. You don't need to go into a specific virtual machine and log in directly. Rather, you can directly manage these machines from the SDX administrative UI, and some of the operations which are available is like shutdown, start, reboot, force shutdown, and all. And then not only apart from managing the virtual machines, you can also manage the access gateway software directly via the SDX administrative UI. And some of the options available in terms of the software management are like you can initiate an upgrade from the SDX UI to the newer versions of access gateway software. You can also initiate backup and restore operations from the SDX UI. And these operations are typically help you in preserving a working configuration of access gateway, and later on, if because of certain issues you want to restore or come back to the previous state. So all these manageability options, all these additional manageability gains are available to the customers now because we are leveraging the SDX administrative UI for the access gateway. Just a convention warning here. Citrix also had a product in past which was called the Access Gateway. This has not to be confused with our offering, which is also called a CA Access Gateway, which is a renamed product for the traditionally known CA Secure Proxy Server. Next slide, Kristen. So as Morgan stated, like the SDX platform has been opened up for third-party software, which are best in class. Typically, the access, the gateway software, and some of the other available software are like Palo Alto, which has got which provides like next generation firewall capability, WebSense, which protects organizations from the cyber attacks, the Blue Cat, which helps in IP address management. And this is a look for a typical SDX administrative UI, where these softwares are available as the guest VMs on the left-hand side, and you can see like CA Access Gateway is one of the products which is available on this platform. So this is just a glimpse of the SDX administrative UI and what all capabilities are available and what all guest VM are available on this platform. Next slide. So let's have a quick look on our key differences between the CA Access Gateway on a SDX platform, which is an appliance, and versus a traditional Access Gateway. And typically, all these are really around the manageability gains we are getting from by leveraging the SDX administrative UI. For our appliance, the instances can be directly provisioned, deleted from the SDX UI. For doing all these operations, traditionally you have to go to the respective machines to do all these operations. You can also manage the VMs via the UI, which was not possible previously, and you can also manage the software in terms of like backup, restore, and upgrade directly from the SDX administrative UI, which typically would have required you to go to the machine, logging in, and then performing all the manual steps to arrive at the desired state. So these are the traditional differences. Apart from that, there are no other differences. All the capability of traditional secure proxy server or CA Access Gateway is available with this new offering also. Next slide, Kristen. So let's summarize the overall benefits. So we are able to consolidate the platform because now the Access Gateway software can get deployed on the SDX platform. This results in a lower total cost of operation because you can really concentrate all your gateway software on one platform, and typically if the platform is available, then you don't need to care about any different machine provisioning and all those things. So platform consolidation. And with platform consolidation comes the benefits of the platform administrative UI, which is the SDX administrative UI. And because of that leveraging, we are getting the manageability gains, which we just discussed. And overall, what it is providing is a reduced time to value from the time you download the software and the time when it becomes operational to use. And it also provides an elasticity in terms of scaling up or down of your access management infrastructure based on your business demand, and doesn't really require a fixed time in terms of like ramping up or ramping down. All these things can be easily achieved via this platform utilization. And as Morgan and Brian just highlighted, like Citrix has opened up the Netscaler SDX platform to support network services from third-party vendors by invitation only, and CA Access Gateway happens to be the first product from the SSO space to be made available on this platform. Next slide, Kristen. So in terms of pricing and availability, this this offering is separately licensed, and it is available as a license bundle of 4 virtual CPUs. Typically, one SPS, one Access Gateway instance requires 2 CPUs. So really, 2 virtual CPUs. So what you really get is like 2 SPS instances, which are really required for all your high availability considerations minimally. Now, this pricing is aligned with the lower TCO for customers, as they can run the Access Gateway on the existing network hardware with better manageability. And if you have like more questions or if you need more information on the licensing options, you can contact your respective CA account representatives, and they'll be able to tell you in more detail around the pricing and the licensing options. And it is generally available now for customers to purchase and download. In the next slide, I'll be showing you like what you need to do to get the software. Next slide, Kristen. So getting the solution. So this is a separate SKU. It is separately a sellable product. It is made available on the CA Support Download Center, just like any other product in the single sign-on family. And customers will need to have the Netscaler SDX 10.5 MR3 release. So that is the release on which, from onwards, which we have started supporting it. And where Netscaler Management UI incorporates the link for CA Access Gateway provisioning. So 10.5 MR3 release is the first release from where we have started supporting this software. And then you also need to have a CA single sign-on infrastructure, needless to say, like you need to have policy server and all these components to make the Access Gateway software operational. And in terms of like the kits or downloads, you really need a one file, which is an XPA file, which is available on the support side. You need to download the CA Access Gateway kit on the SDX hardware, and then from the management UI, you just need to point to that software and start instantiating your machine. So this is overall like how you are going to get the solution and how you are going to use the software to create like Access Gateway instances on the SDX UI. So this is like all in terms of like what you need to know minimally around this offering, what this offering is, what exactly are the value propositions, and how it can be used and leveraged in your IT environment or your data centers. So next slide.
So hi everyone. Yeah, we'd like to open it up to Q&A right now, and if you can just go ahead and put it in the chat of a QA. You can do it that way, or you can click the request phone button. An icon kind of looks like a phone with a question mark over it, and we can get at your questions that way as well. Okay. I'm not seeing any questions right now. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask? Okay. I guess with that, then, if there's no other questions, we just wanted to thank you very much for joining us today, and please do check in on the community and be active participants, and we'll see how we can enrich the experience for both our users and also in the product itself. And with that, I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all very much for joining, and we will see you again in the next session. Thanks. Have a great day.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I was having some trouble unmuting, but if anyone's still on the line, we'll hang out here for a few more minutes if any questions pop up. I just put a poll out there for anyone who wants to answer it about the quality of this webcast. If you found it useful, we'd love to hear your feedback. But yeah, like Ryan said, in the meantime, feel free to join the security community if you haven't already. We're posting a lot of information there about the new Access Gateway release with Citrix SDX support, as well as much new information about our other security products. So, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Again, my name is Kristen Malzone. My email address is kristen.malzone@ca.com.
Kristen, we did have one question from Ron Simmons regarding, will these slides be available or posted up in the community?
Yes, I will post the slides as well as a recording of this entire presentation on the CA community. If you go to communities.ca.com and search for the CA security community, you'll see the slides posted there under this event. If you click on events and then click on this event, the Lower Your TCO event, you'll see a link to the slides as well as the recording there.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, with that, I guess.
Yeah, we can go ahead and end the webcast now if there's no other questions. But like I said, feel free to ask them in the community. All of our panelists will be available to answer those questions in the community if you have any questions after you review the product and some more information about it. All right, thank you all of our panelists. Thank you, Brian, Alan, Morgan, and Sanjay. Really appreciate it, and hope you guys have a great time at CA World.
Cheers.